All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dive into a really beautiful, kind of mind-bending concept from a short but powerful piece of writing. Seriously, it's an idea that might just make you look at the streets you walk down every single day in a completely new way. So let's just jump right in with a huge question. Can a city actually have a mind? Now, I don't mean some sci-fi central computer or a hive mind or anything like that. I mean, can a collection of buildings, streets, and people, can it think for itself? Can it generate its own ideas? Well, according to the source for this explainer, the answer is a big, loud yes. It lays out this idea called Taipei Discourse, which suggests a city can do exactly that. It can spark conversations, create meaning, not in some stuffy boardroom, but right there on the pavement, in the alleys, and in our shared memories. Okay, so how on earth does that actually work? You know, if a city has a mind, what's its engine? What's powering all that thought? Let's take a look under the hood. So, at its heart, this idea of Taipei Discourse is all about a city being way more than just, bricks and mortar. It can act as a poetic medium. The key here is to think of it less like a single official story being told from the top down, and more like a living, breathing environment where thoughts can grow. And what's so cool is that this process weaves together something incredible, this invisible network of thought that spreads all across the city. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but it connects everyone and everything, almost turning the city into a kind of collective brain. Right, so if the city is weaving this amazing network, what's it made of? What's the thread? What are these invisible ingredients that make up this huge intellectual web? The source basically breaks it down into three really simple, really human ingredients. First, it starts with perception, not just looking, but truly feeling the city's vibe. Then we give that feeling a voice through language, the stories we tell, the arguments we have about our home. And finally, all of that creates empathy, this shared understanding that connects us to our neighbors and the space around us. That's the fuel. So what does this actually feel like? I mean, it's not some big, loud, dramatic event. It's subtle. The source uses this beautiful line from a poem to explain it. It moistens things silently, almost like a fine mist or the air itself. It just quietly changes the intellectual atmosphere of the whole city without any fanfare. All right, so once these ingredients are kind of floating around in the air, they start to completely change how we see everything. They take the everyday and make it something more. So think about it like this. On the surface, a new building is, well, it's just an object, right? But inside the city mind, we start to see it in a whole new way. We start asking about its purpose, its effect on the community. And suddenly, design isn't just about looks, it's a question of ethics. And in the same way, food stops being just about taste. It becomes a form of cultural expression. It becomes art. And this is where it gets really, really cool. When this discourse is alive and kicking, your everyday life just gets richer. A simple walk through your neighborhood isn't just a walk anymore. It's a debate with your surroundings. Every time you look at a piece of street art or an old building, it's a cultural act. It's your way of participating in the city's big, ongoing conversation. And that brings us to maybe the most dynamic part of this whole idea. This network of thought, it's not static. It's not some dusty old library where ideas just sit on a shelf. No, it's a living ecosystem. It's always, always in motion. First up, it's constantly generating. New ideas, new angles, new questions are just always bubbling up from the streets, from cafes, from all the little interactions between people. And then it's displacing. As these new ideas pop up, they challenge the old ones. They push them aside. They make us rethink what we thought we knew about our own city. And finally, all of that leads to restructuring. The entire web of thought is constantly being reformed and rebuilt. It's this incredible, never-ending cycle of creation, challenge, and renewal. And this is the big payoff. When you put all of that together, the ingredients, the new perspectives, that constant motion, the city isn't just a place anymore. It becomes what the source so powerfully calls a continuously thinking life form. So I'll leave you with a challenge. Next time you're walking around, just try to listen. Try to look past the simple objects and taste the food. and see if you can spot the ethics and the art. Tap into that invisible network. What debates is your neighborhood having? What ideas is it generating right now? What is your city trying to tell you? Thanks for joining this Explain.